All right, we're here with Joe Battaglia again. Last time we talked with Joe, he was getting ready to have a show. It was about a month and a half ago. Tell us about how that went for you, Joe.
Oh, we had a real good turnout. It was a real bad weather day, and we still had a great turnout. We had excellent pre-sales for tickets, and everybody seemed to have a real good time despite the weather. We still did real well attendance-wise.
Any standout performances by any of the fighters?
Absolutely. Sean Baker won our 185 belt, and he did an excellent job. We had a fighter, Derek Hope, come in at the last minute because Sean's fighter got hurt and couldn't fight. He stepped in at the last minute. He did an excellent job, and he winded up losing, but it was in the third round. It was a really good fight.
All right. You promote for the TXC, but we're at the Ron DeLeon show tonight. What are you doing here?
I'm here to support Ron and judge for him and referee if he needs it. I try to support all the promoters in the area.
Okay. You know, now that there's the commission is being put together for amateur MMA, or the organization, you see a lot more of that. There's a lot more of the promoters working together. What's going on with that?
Well, what we're just trying to do is we're just trying to have uniform rules. Everybody getting the proper insurance and having doctors on staff and paramedics, so that way it's safe for the fighters. Everybody's just trying to come together. At least most of the promoters are trying to come together, and we don't want fighters being pulled off of cards at the last minute to try and screw up other promoters' shows, because these are pretty expensive endeavors. So, you know, we're just trying to have a uniform system with all the.
All right. One of the things that has been brought up is that the current rules, the way that they're going to pass in Michigan, are set up to allow the huge organizations to promote shows, but it has a chance to end some of the smaller organizations. And while the impact of a UFC event with 20,000 people has to be known, you know, when you put on your shows and you're drawing up over 1,000 people, and you're doing it more than once a year, you know, over the course of the year, every weekend, it's 52 shows, 52,000 people. That's more than will show up for a UFC event. What do you see as the impact to the communities when you put on a show?
Well, you know, the UFC is great. We're all excited for them to come here, but it's only going to be a one-time event per year. You know, and the state's only going to get, I believe, don't quote me, but I think it's about $25,000 in tax revenue for that one particular show, where, you know, you have all these promoters. There's pretty much shows, 2 and 3 shows every single weekend, and by having that, there's going to be a lot more tax dollars spent the way that we're doing it. So I just think that we need to rework some of that law, and you know, we can't compete with the UFC. Nobody can. But if we can just work out the amateurs, we're developing fighters to go to the UFC. I mean, that's our goal. That's
what I saw, was that yeah, this is a chance to kill what, you know, in baseball would be considered the farm system. You know, where the people get their start, get the experience. Without that, without these local shows, you know, will there be a place for fighters to get the experience?
Well, absolutely correct. We have to have this. Otherwise, I mean, these guys can't step up and just go right to the UFC. Nobody can. I mean, that's dangerous. Even guys that go fight, I mean, there's so many amateur shows that, you know, the promoter owns a gym, and then he also, you know, he puts his guys up against easy guy, and all of a sudden they have 10-0 records, and they go fight someone that's even just okay, mediocre out of state, and they get hurt, and they go to the hospital. So it's just something that we have to monitor, and that's by doing this group, we're going to be able to monitor that a little better.
Do you, one of the concerns is the underground fights. Do you think that that will increase if the amateur events are outlawed?
Oh, absolutely. There's no doubt about it. These guys are still going to fight. Some people go out of state, but, you know, the problem with the amateurs in MMA right now is that a lot of these guys are poor kids. They can't afford to leave the state. They can't afford to travel and, you know, pay for hotels and everything else, so they're still going to fight. They're just going to do it right here in Michigan.
Okay. Yeah, like that's one of the other issues I saw, is that people like this sport. It's the fastest growing sport right now, and in the male demographic, it's second only to NFL football in popularity. So like you said, obviously people are going to want to fight, and in those shows where it's underground, there's a huge chance for them to get hurt. You mentioned that you wanted to see people do things right, and that's part of the commission. What is it that at a TXC show that you have to do to make things go right?
Well, what we do, the biggest thing that we do is we carry health insurance on all our fighters. You know, that way if somebody gets hurt and they go to the hospital, they're at least covered up to X amount of dollars. We have paramedics, we have doctor on staff. That way if somebody gets hurt, everybody's there to protect the fighters. That's the most important thing. A lot of these shows, even some of the bigger shows, they don't carry that insurance. And, you know, there's been incidents where kids have been in the hospital 3 to 4 weeks. you know, because of what may happen with bad matchups, bad matchmakers, and that's just something that we're not interested in. We want a competitive fight. It doesn't matter to us who wins. We just want to fight so we don't know who the winner is. That's how we set up our fights. Our matchmaker puts our fight together, so we absolutely have no clue who's going to be the winner in the outcome. And that's what we think every way.
All right, what's next for the TXC?
Our next fight is March 20th in Pontiac. It's Promoters United. We actually came together with 3 other promoters, Rock and Roll MMA Show, Combat X, and Michigan Extreme Cage Fighting, to do a show in Pontiac to show the rest of the promoters that guys can get along and do a show together and have some success and do it for the fighters. And that's why we do that.
It's at Clutch's Cargo, which is a nightclub, but it's a huge nightclub. I think it has 3 levels. Do you think that venue is going to get packed? Do you think it's going to be an exciting show?
I think we'll sell it out for sure. It should be a real good show. I'm pretty sure it will sell out. And Pontiac's a great area for fights. It's a good community, and shows that have been there in the past have all done pretty well.
Anybody on that card from the TXC that we should look out for?
Sean Baker, our 185 champ, is going to be there. If he's healthy, you know, he was hurt. He got hurt in a fight a couple months ago, and if he's back, he will be on that card. But there's a lot of up-and-comers that are going to be on this card.
All right, great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.